we were sitting here, and I said, "Ooh, you know what? Our own Ashton Colson that works for the Blaze, is a contributor to the Blaze, does all these things for the Blaze to make the Blaze a special place." I said, "Text her, let's see if she'll come in here." So Ashton is here. Hi.
Yes. Hello.
Your husband, is in Israel.
He is.
He was there. Why was he there, Josh?
Yeah.
Why was he there in the first place?
Absolutely. So my husband and his brother Caleb, Joshua and Caleb Colson, are Messianic Jews. So Jewish by heritage, but they believe that Jesus Christ is Yeshua. And they became the new faces of a ministry here in Fort Worth called Zola Levitt. Zola Levitt produces TV shows that teach the gospel. So they headed out to Israel about 2 weeks ago to produce a series teaching the gospel. And they started out in southern Israel. They actually started out near the Gaza Strip and Lebanon, and then made their way to Jerusalem. And on Friday morning there, so it would be Thursday about midnight, almost midnight here, I was speaking with him on the phone because it's like 7 a.m. there. And all of a sudden I started seeing reports on Twitter that there was something going on at the Strip. And that's when it all started. Literally the next day, their flights were canceled. They were supposed to come home this morning. They're supposed to arrive at 10 a.m. And since everything began, we have no idea when they will be home. In fact, I spoke with the U.S. Embassy yesterday and was told, have you filled out the crisis intake paperwork? Yes, I have. Okay, well, just wait for a phone call. That's all we got for you.
That's scary. And I follow what Josh is doing on Instagram. And for those of you who are wondering why Ashton looks so familiar, if you follow Blaze on Instagram, you see the news you might have missed, and that's her face. Yeah. So there you go. And she does a fantastic job with that, among so many other things that she does here at the Blaze. But her husband Josh, I mean, did you get the picture? This is not a small man. This is not a weak man. This is not a beta male by any stretch of the imagination. This is a very giant Jason Momoa-esque Jew.
6'8", 300 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Yeah, an intimidating figure. So I've been following their reports. Well, I mean, I see what he posts while he's in Israel. I saw an interesting post. He's touring all over the place. He's doing this project. And then what happened Saturday popped off, and they gave a report. And then, so I was like, because my first thought was, hey, Ashton's husband is there. Yeah. I heard that happen. So I saw their report and then other things, and then they immediately could not get out. Yeah. What's the status? I mean, if they were just to say, go to Tel Aviv to the airport, what are they going to find?
The word on the ground this morning was that there were 64,000 people at the Tel Aviv airport desperately trying to get out. Wow. And if they were able to secure a commercial airline flight, which they have not been, and they've tried several times, they would not be able to get out for another week.
And they're currently where?
In Jerusalem.
They're in Jerusalem. Yeah. And your report yesterday, they were in a bomb shelter? So
they've been in and out of bomb shelters. So Jerusalem right now is under martial law. And when the air raid sirens go off, you have 45 seconds to get into a bomb shelter. But you can kind of walk around the city during the day, though most people don't. Yeah. So they were actually interviewing a gentleman who is a retired IDF, and in the middle of their interview had to move into a bomb shelter. And actually, when everything started, even on Saturday and Sunday, they had rockets get shot out of the sky over their heads. They have tape of that as well.
So they're there. Are you able to? Is there any cell communication back and forth between you guys? Can y'all communicate?
Yeah. So right now I'm able to.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, I can't even. So right now I'm able to call him, and he's able to call me, and he has Wi-Fi and all of those things. I'm very grateful. However, the hotel that he is staying at has told its employees that beginning on Thursday for a 3-day period that they are going to turn off the power and the Wi-Fi to the hotel. We have been told that it is due to a low occupancy issue. I don't really know what that means or why they do that.
Boy, my conspiracy antenna go off on that. If they're going to shut down certain communication systems on Thursday, are they planning something? Yeah, I mean that's another great question.
Deal? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's very odd that they have employees that live there. So you're just going to leave those people in the dark. You have tourists who are now stuck there. Like my husband, you're going to leave them in the dark. Like if his phone dies in that 3-day period, not to mention the fact he doesn't have any Wi-Fi. So we're going to have to rely on reception to get through.
Yeah. It's a scary thing because all this morning I've been sitting there because we've heard different reports that are coming out, and now they're starting to put faces and names with these images of the people that we've seen slaughtered.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, as a father, how would I feel if one of my daughters was there, or if a sibling or spouse were there, and so. You're living that.
Yeah.
You're living that. Thankfully, he is an alpha male in that situation. Yeah. And there's some relief in a situation like that, but still.
Yeah, I mean, I would say out of every person that I know of in my life, he would be the one that I would choose to be there right now and to be a part of this, because I know he can handle it. I trust his wisdom and discernment in that. However, I can't help but think about all of the people, all of the family members that are here right now who are wringing their hands going, I don't know when I'm going to have my husband, wife, brother, sister, son, daughter come home. And they don't have the contacts that I have. And maybe they're not on Twitter. Before I started working here, I wasn't on Twitter. I am relying on second by second updates on Twitter from a couple of different accounts they're in Israel right now. I don't know how they are handling it. And to me, I feel like I have an obligation and a responsibility to raise my voice and say, we have Americans who are stuck there and there is no pathway for them to come home.
Yeah.
Our government is not doing its job that it promised us that as American citizens it would do. Every time I've ever traveled internationally, I just assumed that if something happened that my country was coming for me. I mean, isn't that the whole point of having a USA passport? Like it was that thing. It was, hey, you better not mess with me.
Yeah, I'm always an American
they're going to come for
this.
me. And now we have how many? I mean, we don't even know how many Americans sitting in Israel right now going, I don't know when I'm getting home.
Are there commercial flights going in and out of Tel Aviv?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
I mean, we've attempted several times to get flights out, and every single time they've been canceled. I've had people say, oh, well, you can book with this, or these people sound like that. I mean, Tel Aviv airport's being shot at.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine there are flights going in and out outside of military airplanes. Now, Poland and Italy have both sent in planes for their nationals. Where's America?
Yeah.
Where are our planes getting our people out?
It really is a sad state, right? I mean, in terms of what our government is doing. I mean, you're relying on bureaucracy, which God knows, we can't even get the IRS on the phone when you have a question about what you supposedly owe them. But you got American citizens who are there on the ground, and you can't get them out.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you've said there's more effort coming from places like Gaza of help trying to get Americans out than our own government is doing to get people out right now. That's shocking. It's telling. It's frightening. I made the comment on social media this morning. I said, listen, we gave these people in Washington, D.C. power and a pension, and they don't care about you, because when everything goes south, they're going to be in a bunker somewhere that we paid for, secured by armed people that we're paying their salaries, and they don't care what happens with us.
Look at what happened to Afghanistan.
Yeah. I mean, they pulled out and just
we
left
knew.
it.
We knew we had Americans there, and nobody came for them.
Yeah. You got your finger pretty well on the pulse of the headlines of what's going on, and I mean, because it's your job to do it. And you alluded to earlier, I mean, thankfully you do have some of the resources and the connections to be able to reach out to some folks. Not everybody has that. Do they still haven't come out with a number of how many Americans are missing, right?
No, I haven't seen a missing number.
I don't think
but
they know.
I did. Yeah, I did hear yesterday afternoon that we now have 11 Americans dead.
Yeah,
but we don't have a number of missing, and I don't think we have a number of who's at the Tel Aviv airport right now waiting to desperately come home.
Yeah,
and that's a big problem.
But you can't travel without that passport. I mean, you get that passport. You would think that they're going to have a clue about where you are on the globe.
Well, you know, you have to fill out paperwork whenever you go somewhere. You have to say, hey, I'm going to be at this place, at this hotel, and do all this stuff. So there has to be a database somewhere that says, here are all the names, here are all the passport numbers of people that are in Israel right now.
Well, this failure on the intelligence community across the board, both Israeli and American, to not see this coming.
It's devastating.
To even be aware, so much less the aftermath of it. And we're now 4 days past, and the president still hasn't made any legitimate statement. I mean, the only statement he made, he kept referring to Ukraine instead of Israel.
Oh, and apparently he's supposed to make a statement at 1 p.m. Eastern time today. That's what's said, but I don't have any confidence that it's going to be, hey, this is what we're going to do to try and get our citizens out, and or anything even remotely like that. Yeah,
and I haven't heard any good solutions yet from anyone.
No. Well, and now, you know, the other fear is in my camp, people who have people there. If America were to put boots on the ground, you already have Hezbollah and Iran and Iraq and the Taliban saying, oh, it's on if that happens. Okay, well, I have people there that I would like to see again.
Yeah.
You know, that I don't want them to be a part of the casualty count.
Yeah, and there's already talk, we'll get into it later on in the show, but there's already talk about, you know, sending in commandos, basically, an elite commando force to see if they can rescue American hostages that are in there. I mean, that's
what I
delicate
heard.
And surgical right there.
That's the report I believe I saw on Twitter this morning, that they had arrived to get the American hostages out of Gaza. Which I'm so grateful for. That's amazing, and I pray that report is real and that those people get out.
Yeah.
Once that's done, can we please work on getting the rest of our citizens out of there?